anything, if you want to make better than 1% of 1,000 and 0% of 100.
So before I was going solo, now I'm part of a group, Simulacra. It's actually a group of five photographers.
How are you set up there?
We have our own, what do you call this, specific roles in terms of handling photography jobs. Like in my case, I take fashion and glamour. One photographer is taking up weddings. One is actually doing events. One is for products and food.
Jericho,
So,
does that mean that whatever you bring in is shared by the other 5, no?
a percentage of it.
A percentage of it.
Yes.
So pwedeng, mag-usapan kayo na, o para let's sama-sama tayo, 5 tayo, we have our specialty, but let's say we can do a 60-30-10. What I bring in, what I should is 60% to me, 30 you divide it, 10 remains to the company. You can always come up with that.
Yeah. The good thing about having a group is, before kasi na-analyze ko yung mga groups, like for example, in terms of video coverage, nakita nyo yung Mayan, nakita nyo si Trilogy, di ba? Yun nga, pinag-uusapan din namin sa likod kanina is people who are going solo. Like, for example, mayroong isang tao na going solo. Okay, let's say for example, pangalan niya Juan, di ba? So may client, sasabihin niya, oh, ikakasal ako, gusto kong kuning photographer si Juan. Eh si Juan may maraming booking kasi sikat. Diba? So problema niyan si client, sabihin niya, ay hindi naman pala siya yung magkukuha ng picture ko, wag na lang. Unlike if you're part of a group, let's say sabihin mo, oh gusto ko si, let's say Mango Red. Diba? Si Mango Red, sino ba si Mango Red? Diba? Pwedeng ako ipadala ni Mango Red. And it doesn't make any difference. The quality would still, well, at least in your mind, pareho lang. Kasi si Mango Red yun. Diba? So that's what I actually had to set up with my group. So pag sinabi mo, ang kukuha ng product shot si Simulacra. So it doesn't mean na ako yung kukuha nun. But it's actually someone from my group na i-assure ko yung quality ng work. So yun yung mas naging click doon sa business side nung being part of the group.
One question, in the structural organization of putting it together, did you raise your equity and bring in money and bought the gear? Or you all gave your gear or kanya-kanyang gear? Yan.
Kanya-kanya.
Kanya-kanyang gear. So, the booking and the business arrangement might be a different arrangement compared to the equity required by the business. Equity is yung puhunan. So, the question is, if one of the 5 who might be specialized in other genres doesn't have the gear, what do?
We share each other.
You share na lang. But the normal rule of thumb is you bring in your own gear into the partnership. Okay, Board, ikaw.
In my case naman kasi in this case, kasi ang market niya kasi Manila. May in Pampanga, kasi medyo mas, I don't want to say lower yung expectation when it comes to quality and photography. Ang sinasabi ko lang, in Pampanga kasi I can market myself as just me, with less competition of course, definitely. Kasi in Pampanga, I don't do weddings. Ang dami ang tatanong, bakit? Why don't you do weddings? Because it's just not my cup of tea. What I'm trying to do is do professional portraits and advertising. So I have my day job from Monday to Friday, it's okay. So during weekdays, weekends, doon ako pumapasok sa studio. So ang studio ko, hindi siya, well, this is a home studio, so para siyang by appointment lang. Kasi sa bahay siya, so wala siyang cost, wala akong cost pag sarado siya. So okay lang, so by appointment lang. I can live with that, so okay lang sa akin. That's on my part. Pero ang tingin ko rin kasi dyan, nasa region din kung ano na market ninyo. Let's say, here in Manila, talaga it's gonna be really...
Services, education and services. Did you go into education? Did you teach? Like Ali teaches?
Yeah, I did.
One-on-one or one-on-one? Group?
I have some groups in one-on-one also.
Jerry?
Yeah, I do group.
You do group education.
I think that's part of the business of photography. You can
Now
share.
you listen to what you're picking up here, okay?
So it's not just doing the actual work, but sharing what you know. Actually, is also very
Sharing
valuable
is
business.
another way of saying, pare, pwede rumakit ng iba. It supplements the gaps. It's very important. Because you are spending good hard-earned money. You have to know exactly where you want to go with this. Do not expect to sell your photos. Kasi the very many businesses that are not tackled yet outside of what these three gentlemen are talking about, are services. What about selling?
Kala ko host ako. Saging panelist na.
A professional, the reluctant.
People in the industry, talaga mahihirapan ka. Now, how do you break that? There's social media.
Borge, tell us your main break, dude. Story.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Where did it happen, man?
The sexy magazine. When
Tell us.
when I penetrated FHM and I start shooting for FHM, kasi it's so easy to like this sexy images, and you get recognition from a lot of people. And from there, I didn't just stop there. From there, yun ang ginamit ko. People know me, and then I tried to offer other things that I can do. I just don't shoot sexy people. I also do portraits, family portraits, food photography, corporate shoot. From there, that's the break that got me in it. That, yun, on my side.
Make the connection,
Make
take
the
advantage of it, and grow it, right? Yeah? Jericho, $280,000 bucks. Tell us how.
So, well, actually, sasagutin ko na rin yung tanong mo. Business part and then marketing yourself. So, for a starter, ang mangyayari kasi niyan is, ano ba to? Set a timeline. That's the most important thing.
Jericho,
Set
tell us
a
a story when it happened, bro.
Okay.
When it happened, bro.
I invested in people.
Tell it. Why? How?
Even Nick would actually attest to it. That
Yes, I
my
know that.
gears are
Go
very
ahead.
old, right?
Go ahead.
But I did invest on gears because right now I can just borrow things. Then how did I actually bring myself to be able to borrow things? I invested on people. Back in high school, I was already someone who's very friendly to those, let's say, what most people would consider as geeks or nerds. I befriended them. Why? Because I know one day one of them would actually be my boss. And true enough, it was actually my first publisher. I was actually good to people. So sabi ko, nung naghahanap na ako ng trabaho for, na may connection sa photography, I actually contacted all those people in the publishing, what do you call this, industry. So may mga kaklase ako ng high school na nag-work sa publication. So I contacted them. But then again, hindi lang ako nag-invest nga doon sa marketing. Nag-invest din ako sa pictures. So before approaching them, I invested time taking pictures. It was easier during our time because madaling humanap ng ex-deal. Ex-deal na model, ex-deal na makeup artist, because back then everybody was still
You built a
building up their
portfolio.
So it was easier back then. Good thing then is when I shifted from film to digital, everybody was doing lomo. Kasi in daw yun. I didn't actually go with the hype. I went to focus on digital camera. Kasi alam ko na, yeah, lomo is just a face, di ba? So, true enough, tama yung naging sugal ko. Sabi ko nga, business, sugal yan eh. So, tama yung naging pinopos ko ng investment. I focused my time, energy sa digital photography rather than doing photography. Okay? And sabi ko nga, set a timeline. With publication, sabi ko, let's say for example, FHM, sabi ko, in 2 years time, kailangan nakapasok na ako sa kanila. Goal ko yun. Otherwise, hindi na. Okay? Babalik na lang ako sa corporate world. So, 2.5 years before I got into FHM. So, 2.5 years. With ads, sabi ko, by this time, kailangan may campaign na ako nakuha. So, true enough, 1 year, I was able to get my first campaign, major campaign, Unisilver. So, sabi kong ganun, kailangan lang mag-set ka ng goal and beat yourself up to achieve that goal. Whatever it takes. No exact science eh. I can't tell you na dapat ganito yung gawin mo. Yan, know people, invest on
It's the
people.
networking, right? You have the network, right? Yeah.
So network lang. I hope I was able to answer your questions.